Good day, everyone. Frank here. Today's presentation, or whatever you want to call it, reel, is going to be a bit different. I'm quite often asked a lot of questions about entertaining because I do a fair amount of it, I'd say. I probably do around a dozen or more gatherings per year. The attendance ranges from 6 people to 36 or 40 people, and I managed to pull it off without any glitches, and probably because I spend probably as much time getting organized as I do actually preparing the meal. So here's my thoughts and tips for you today on entertaining. Some of them you may want to follow, some of them you may not, and some of them you may disagree with, which is totally okay, and I totally respect that. The number one question I probably get is when I have a large crowd over, do I panic or am I nervous? And my response to that kind of surprises people. I would rather have 14 or 20 people over rather than 4 or 6. I just find with a larger crowd, they tend to entertain themselves and form little cliques, and that way it frees me up to do the entertaining part and to do the food prep part. So just something to keep in mind. It really helps, it really does. Another question I get is how much food do I cook? I kind of gauge like how many people are coming over, who's coming over, and how much they normally eat. And then after I do that, what I do is I'll probably cook anywhere from 40 to 50% more than I think I need. And the reason for that is I would hate to run out of anything no matter what I'm serving. I would rather have leftovers than to see an empty dish at the table, because that empty dish at the table for me represents that someone didn't get more of something. And so therefore, always try to make more than you think you really need. Prep. I do as much prep as I can without compromising the quality of the food. So therefore, most of my desserts I make, I can do in advance. Some of them can be frozen, especially if they're cakes. I have no issue with that. In fact, a lot of cakes are actually better after they've been frozen. They will be moister. So try that tip. This prep I do also goes into setting a table, meaning that when you set a table, think outside the box and think of things that people would ask for while they're at the table. For example, they may need extra napkins, or they actually may want access to a butter dish or salt and pepper shakers. My rule of thumb has always been is if you have like a rectangle table, like a bigger table, always put at least 2 sets of salt and pepper at each end and a butter dish at each end, along with extra napkins at each end. That way people can kind of help themselves and they won't be embarrassed or shy if they feel they need more salt or pepper for their dish, or if they need an extra napkin. And it just saves you the hassle of getting up, walking away, and having to get that for them. Another tip I have is serving utensils. I think serving utensils are so important, and whenever I set a table for a meal, one of the first things I do is lay out all the serving utensils. And so therefore, if I know there's going to be like 5 different dishes, whether it be, actually it doesn't matter what they are, I always make sure I have lots of large serving spoons and forks on hand. These are just so important, and nowadays they're just so affordable, and they're much easier to use than a regular spoon or a large spoon. I've seen these at various supermarkets and at dollar stores. One of the best investments you will ever make. Trust me, it certainly will be. I probably have 6 or 8 large spoons, 3 or 4 large forks, and around 3 or 4 pie servers, just to add convenience to the meal. The next thing I want to talk about might be a bit controversial and might rub some people the wrong way. However, I'm going to talk about it, and that is If I spend days, literally, and lots of money putting the meal together, and if I say it's at a certain time, I really feel that people should show up by that time or before that time. People who know me know that I really stick to this rule. One of the things you can do, and I think it is extremely important, is that whenever you have people over for a meal, let them know exactly what time you will be eating at. Because if you just randomly say 4 or 5, they're going to show up whenever thinking there's going to be this social period before the meal. And so therefore be very, very clear on that. And that's something I really stick to. And I stick to it out of respect for the attendees, because I know that they're planning their day and their largest meal of the day around a visit to my place, and I want to respect that. Not only that, when I prepare a large meal, it's very, very well timed to ensure the proper quality and temperature when being served. So therefore, if you have someone that you know is perpetually late, you really need to reinforce the fact that the actual meal time is at a certain time, albeit 5 o'clock or whatever. People also know that when they come to my place, if I say a meal is at 5 and we're going to eat at 5, by 4:59 the meal is ready, it's on the table, and they're ready to eat. I don't keep anyone waiting. Again, if someone's running late and if they don't call especially, I personally don't wait for them. I just don't. I just been around the block too many times on this, and I know who these repeat offenders are for the most part. And of course, keeping in mind there are exceptions, especially if someone calls just before that time and says, they're running late due to an emergency or something, then fine, that's okay. But for the most part, stick to your meal times, because people plan their day around that. And also, you spend so much time and money putting that meal together, and commitment, that the least people can do is spend 5 minutes that day to make sure that they arrive on time for their meal. So anyway, that is it. You all have a great day. Take care. Bye.